you know, there's one thing we've learned from this coronavirus, it's that we're all in this together. It's a stark and sobering reminder that as different as we may be from each other on this planet, you know, we're still interconnected, dependent on each other, as much as some people may want to deny that. The virus has been the great equalizer. It recognizes no boundaries, no ethnicity, no skin color, no religion, no immigration status. It doesn't care how much money you've made in your life or how famous you are. You know, we are all susceptible, and that's what we've learned. But we've also learned that together we can beat it down, and we're doing that. I think first and foremost with those miracle workers, you know, the doctors and nurses and hospital workers and first responders that are out there literally risking their lives so the best of us, the rest of us can get better. It's kind of like what we see on my show, What Would You Do? Good people, time and again, in every one of our scenarios, our little experiments, good people, the heroes, step up in the moment of need, and they take on the bully, and they take on the racist. They sound the alarm, and they come to the rescue. And what's really beautiful is that when they do step up, when people do the right thing, you know, when they get involved, other people join in. It's almost as if we're waiting for someone to give us permission to do that. And that's why it's so important that one person get involved, because then it allows the rest of us to get involved. It's like a good virus, you know, compassion. It spreads, and the fight against bullying and discrimination and injustice is infectious. And every time we do these, and living in this moment in time, you know, it's just inspiring and heartwarming, and it gives us hope. I call journalism the candle in the darkness. Imagine the room you're in right now is pitch black. The windows are closed. It's the middle of the night. We can't see our hands in front of our faces. Well, the journalist, he or she, is the person with the flashlight or the little candle, and they can shine it on the darkest corners of the room to illuminate injustice, to illuminate corruption and civil rights violations and human rights violations. I think when journalism is done right, those are the kinds of stories that we should be telling. All of that won my first Emmy Award in Chicago, and I wound up coming to ABC, where I worked for World News Tonight and Good Morning America and Nightline and 2020 and Primetime Live. And it was there and then it turned into What Would You Do? 13 years ago. Who would have believed 13 years ago that we'd still be doing the show, right? And it's been fabulous. The show about doing the right thing. You know, we're all faced with these dilemmas in our daily lives. It doesn't matter if you work in corporate America, if you work in education, in the law profession, in politics, or in journalism. We're all faced with these decisions day to day. That's where we get our ideas for what would you do? What would you do? We wanted to hold up a mirror to American society to see how we would behave when faced with injustice. And like I said, we'll be back very soon with a new collection of scenarios that we'll be putting on the air. People often ask me, which is your favorite scenario that we've done so far? And I have to say, and I'll wrap up with this, the one we did where we were asking the question, what would you do if you're walking down the sidewalk and the first person in front of you collapses? You don't know if they passed out from a heart attack or because they fainted, you just don't know. And we did it at 8 o'clock in the morning by a train station where people were in a hurry to catch their train to go to work. So now you have that added element. Not only do you not know medicine and how to help someone who is down, but you're also in a hurry and you don't have time to help. What would you do? First, we did it with a well-dressed businesswoman who's walking along and she's in her 40s and she collapses. Immediately, people stepped in, they helped her, they put a coat over her, it was cold, they fashioned a pillow. Every single time this stunt artist fell very convincingly, people came to help. We said, wow, that's pretty impressive. But what if we switch actors, as we often do on the show, and instead of a well-dressed businesswoman, it's a homeless man who's elderly and disheveled and smelly and dirty, and he's holding a beer can in his hand. So we had an actor play that role. He's walking along, he collapses. 67 people go by, and no one is stopping to help him. People are just stepping over him. One lady made the sign of the cross and kept going. We're about ready to come out and give it up and say, well, I guess if you're homeless, people are not going to offer you much help. But before I could get out there, I heard the tapping of a walking cane on the sidewalk. And then into the frame of the hidden camera comes this beautiful African-American woman who's stumbling along with a walking cane because she has suffered a stroke. And guess what? She's homeless herself. And guess what? She stops to help. And she starts asking people, excuse me, do you have a cell phone? Does anyone have a cell phone to call an ambulance for this man? Because of course she didn't have one, she's homeless. 38 more people go by and no one is stopping. Then she stumbles down and did something we didn't expect. She takes the beer can out of the actor's hands and stumbles over to the trash can to put it away, as if she was thinking, maybe if I give him a little bit of dignity, maybe then people will stop and help. Guess what? 48 more people come by and no one is stopping to help. She makes a fist to the heavens, I remember, because the camera was really tight on her. And she was like angry at God himself. Like, how can you allow this to happen? And then she leans down again, and we could hear this because the actor on the ground was wearing a wireless microphone. And she says to him, I don't know, sir, I don't know your name, but my name is Linda Hamilton, and I'm going to call you Billy. And Billy, she says, don't you worry, my man. I'm homeless too. I've walked in the homes of the homeless, so I know what it's like. And I'm going to stay here until help arrives. And then finally, a woman stopped to help. And we came out with, and all the excitement when people are signing releases, they're relieved that this was just a show. I'm meeting them, we're interviewing them. And all that excitement, we lost our hero. Linda Hamilton, the homeless woman who stopped to help, disappeared. So we put the story on the air a few weeks later because we had her name. And sure enough, the day after it aired, we got hundreds and hundreds of phone calls and emails and on social media, people asking, who is Linda Hamilton? They created a Facebook page for her, our viewers, on Facebook called Touched by an Angel, with her picture from the TV show, Touched by an Angel, the hero, Linda Hamilton. So then my producer said, John, we got to go find her to do an update, right? So we spent 2 weeks scouring the streets of Newark, New Jersey, looking for Linda Hamilton with her picture from the TV show. We went to every homeless shelter, every liquor store, every train station, and finally we found her. And my producer said, John, we got to come interview her. So we went, I met her, and I sat down on some church steps with Linda Hamilton, and I explained to her, said, do you remember me and the man who fell? She goes, oh, yeah, I remember the man. I said, you helped him. We got her $8,000 in the bank that people had raised in this campaign on Facebook. We got her a place to live. We got her medicine that she was supposed to be taking for her heart, and we got her her own cell phone. The thing that made her most excited was her own cell phone. And I said to her, now, Linda Hamilton, the next time you witness something like this, you can call 911. But at the end of all this, I said, Linda, people are calling you a hero. People are saying you're an angel. They made this Facebook page for you called Touched by an Angel. Are you a hero? Are you an angel? And she looked at me and she says, no way, John Quinones, no way. She said, let me tell you what happened that day. She said, I thank God put me on that corner, on that street, on that day, because he knew you were there with your What Would You Do cameras. And he wanted to teach people a lesson. And who better to teach that lesson than someone who has walked in the shoes of the homeless? So I leave you with that message today. The next time you see something disturbing out there, you witness an injustice, and the little voice in the back of your head says, do something. Remember the words and the actions of Linda Hamilton, this woman who was homeless. She had suffered a stroke, and yet she stopped to help a man who was down. He was white, she was black. Not that that should matter. She stopped to help a man who was down, not because she was going to be on national television. She didn't know that. Not because she was going to get $8,000 in the bank and her own house to live in and medicine for her heart and her own cell phone. She didn't know that. She did it because, as my dear Mother Maria would say, her corazón, her heart, told her it was the right thing to do.